Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Hot Combs and Popcorn. For those who don't know, my name is Bobby.
My name's Danielle.
And my name's Brianna.
And one of the things we like to do here on this podcast is review movies and television shows in Black culture that we should have seen by now, but we just haven't. And at the end, we're going to discuss our thoughts and feelings and then rate from a scale of 1 to 5 Hot Combs. Now, it's February. We all know this. It's Black History Month, y'all. And so we have a very special episode. We're reviewing a documentary today, our first one. Today we're reviewing I Am Somebody, which was directed by Madeline Anderson, was released in 1970, and is a short political documentary with a runtime of 28 minutes. So when they said short, they meant short.
Short.
Quick synopsis. I Am Somebody is about Black hospital workers on strike in Charleston, South Carolina. It's the first half-hour documentary filmed by an African-American woman in the film industry union. And this film is one of the first to link Black women and the fight for civil rights. So it's giving trailblazer. Love to see it.
Yep.
So this was very interesting. I'm not really sure how we should go about this. Highlights, lowlights, because it's nonfiction. So I guess we can just get into it. Does anybody have any pressing thoughts about I Am Somebody?
Well, first, I know we talked about Madeline Anderson and, how her accolades, but also she is the first African-American woman to executive produce a nationally aired television show on PBS. So giving Madeline her flowers. But getting into it, I think I personally love documentaries so much because you can always learn something. I didn't know much, if anything, about the strike that was going on in Charleston at that time. So I think that it highlighted it well, and it highlighted it like in 28 minutes. Like it was straight to the point. Like it really just gave you the facts, showed you the background, and then, that was it, which I personally enjoyed. I feel like sometimes documentaries can really just be drawn out, and it doesn't need to be. It could just be like, say what you need to say and go. And that's really what she did and what she accomplished. So I got to give props for that.
I would definitely say things like this make me just fawn over Black cinema, the filming of it, that time period, the music, the overlapping. First of all, just to see like the IATSE symbol at the end of it, felt okay, same, because that's my gang, okay? So it was like, it's already pushing boundaries, and it's a documentary on something that I haven't seen really. And I think it's a shame that you don't see this documentary on more platforms. I saw it on Apple TV, so it is to purchase, and it is like distributed like a regular movie. But I wish that there were more documentaries or fictionalized television shows about things that we haven't necessarily seen, in Black culture in schools. They already trying to take away Black culture in school. And so it's just like, it'd be nice to be exposed to that extra stuff that we just didn't know what was going on. For me watching this, I was irritated watching the whole thing because, and that's my answer. I was irritated because these people are walking around with peace signs. I mean, there's nothing I love more than a good union, okay? Unions keep the lights on and the world spinning. And it's just like, anytime I see anything from the decades of civil rights, before or after, and people are peacefully protesting, peacefully praying, even though like he was probably being slick with that, but they wanted to get slick with their word choices. Let's get slick back. It's just, the police be doing too much, and that's what I'm just gonna leave it at that. That's my overall in general. And yeah, it just, That's my overall general feelings. We'll get
Mm.
into like the other nitty and gritty stuff later.
Yeah, we can get into the nitty gritty because I have a lot of notes. But I feel like I don't know if you guys have seen the 1619 Project, but it's a docu-series that recently premiered on Hulu, and it's about how institutional racism and slavery has impacted certain aspects of life in America. They have like an episode on democracy. Democracy. There's episode on food, music, a whole bunch of stuff like that. I could really see this fitting in well if they decide to make this into a docuseries. Only because, she got straight to the point. She said what she had to say, but as soon as I started getting into it, it ended. And I was like, damn, I want to know what more. And, clearly she was filming this as it was happening. So it's not like there's an epilogue or, anything like that. So it just really sparked my curiosity and made me wish that these kinds of topics had been reported on and continuously reported on, because it is very niche. Like Charleston, South Carolina, a union strike, like we don't really talk about that for real. So I would like to see this be expanded now into a docuseries or something similar. Yeah. So I wrote down a lot of quotes, but the one thing that this made me think of, I really, really hated that era of Twitter where everyone was talking about, we're not our ancestors, we will fight back. I was like, man, and all I was thinking about the whole time I was watching, even though this whole thing was very nonviolent, very passive, they still fighting back. And like all of y'all, I'm talking to everybody out there that said something about, I'm not my ancestors. How dare you? How dare you? That is so disrespectful. It's rude. These women were out there on the front lines. Coretta Scott King was talking about $1.30 an hour, which I looked up, and today that's $10.10 an hour, which is criminal. Okay, a crime. They're out there fighting for pennies. The one lady said she went to school for 12 years to make $1.30 an hour, and all of y'all that had to fix your lips to say something like that.
Yep.
You should be ashamed of yourself.
We can't even boycott Chick-fil-A, so I don't want to hear it. Like,
yeah, for real.
We can't even boycott the simple things that we know counter support things that we support, or counter support communities that we support. We know, and oh my God, I'm just keep it short. I really loved that they touched on the Black dollar, because I don't think people realize how much money, especially on certain things, Black community spends on. And it's just like, to me, and that's why like certain brands, certain platforms, I do not pay for stuff for or associate with, because it's like, put your money where your mouth is. Like, if you're going to say, oh my God, I don't want to beat on Chick-fil-A, but like, oh my God, Chick-fil-A said Blue Lives Matter, but you still getting chicken sandwiches. What did we like? Yeah. Counterproductive. It's one thing if, like, example, Kent State gave us free chicken sandwiches. That's one thing. The dollar didn't go. I didn't pay.
It's in my pocket.
It's not in my pocket. But I'm not gonna go voluntarily, like Balenciaga, all those different things. Like, all people do on Twitter is like, like that's all they do. And then they push submit order on their cart on that exact brand. So please, if you watch this, take anything away from it other than the unionization and how important that is. Like she said, or like the Reverend said, or I don't remember who said it, but going to jail or going to get arrested was like a thing.
Like a badge of honor.
Yeah,
it was a badge of honor, because you out there making a difference. You ain't got to get arrested, but your money, your dollar goes way further than you make it seem.
So absolutely.
It does. And I feel like a lot of people kind of our age think that they can't make a change, or like our ancestors were so like far removed, so it was so long ago this was 54 years ago. Like, this was not that long ago. So it really irks me when I hear people say that, because I'm like, okay, maybe one person can't make a change alone, but you saw they got together, they got with the churches, with like the community, and they found a common ground. And they're like, we're not going to stand for this. We're gonna do what we got to do. But I feel like, especially on Twitter be talking. They talk out of
Loudly.
every corner of their mouths. And it's just like, you
Blah,
say
blah,
all this
blah, blah,
stuff,
blah,
but
blah.
when it comes to action, you don't want to do nothing. So like, where are we going? Like, it's just so annoying. And like, to see how passionate they were and how much they were putting in, and then seeing how sometimes we don't do the same, or we talk about doing it, but we don't do it. It's like, where's the disconnect? Where did that stop?
And I will say two things. One, what is it? No, I'm not even gonna get into that. When we get tattoos, let's look at the grammar. And I'm
Oh Lord.
gonna leave that quote there. Number two, yeah, Twitter, you're right. We're not our ancestors, because they was fighting police.
Mm-hmm.
They was putting hands on them.
Say, period. They about that life.
Mm-hmm.
We're not. And simply because racism has become so systematic and more covert, I guess, in this day and age versus last time, people aren't literally spraying us with hoses. But it's also just like, it could still have the same amount of detriment, but because it's not happening in our face at the time, we don't feel motivated. It's like, yeah, you're right. We're not like our ancestors. We're not gonna go protest something for a long amount of time until something actually happens. Like, we don't do that. So you're right. They was fighting police officers, yet I'm not gonna say that either.
But it's like, you're right, because it's like, when are we gonna take a strike for 100 some odd days and put in that effort? But no, like, we have to. We still want the things we want. We want to eat at this place. We want to buy this purse. We want to do, like, it's where does the seriousness come in? Like, if we're gonna be about it, let's be about it. You know?
It's just so unfortunate, because like the last huge protest that I can remember us having was summer 2020 during the George Floyd protests, which I feel like a lot of people, like, it really, I mean, Trayvon Martin, there were a string of the Black Lives Matter literally started because of him. There were a string of protests because of him, and then Tamir Rice and all of these people. But I feel like George Floyd was different only because we had COVID and people could afford to leave work and could afford, well, kind of. There was nothing else to do. Okay, so they was in the street. But I feel like if it wasn't for the pandemic, it wouldn't have been like so long and drawn out, which is just unfortunate, because like shit is still going down, but the stakes are too high, like in every other aspect of life. Whereas the 60s were so supercharged, like there was people were dying left and right. I mean, they still are, but like huge public figures dropping dead, murdered. It seemed like every few months. Exactly. It's on Bree's shirt right there,
This shirt, Black owned business, Melanin Apparel. I believe they had a shirt that Whoopi Goldberg just wore on The View. That is like a whole bunch of pictures of these people's mugshots. Okay. I bought it because I met one of the owners at the retreat that I went to, but I was like, you know what? These are like, again, money where your mouth is. If you're gonna support Black business, support Black business. If you're not gonna support a business that don't support Black people, don't support the business that don't support Black people. Like, this, it's very simple. The first picture that I was pointing to is Martin Luther King, which is referenced because this happened right after he was killed. People dying left and right. Like, there's a bunch of people on this shirt, Black people. It says Class of Legends, and at the bottom it says flowers to the people.
Ooh, wait, this is nice.
That's cute.
Damn. Okay, come on.
Yeah.
Very cute. Very cute line. Melanin Apparel, if you want to go look at it. But so many people on this shirt has been in jail, has been killed, has had some type of significant racism. Like it's just, they were, like you said, things were happening in real time and it was affecting people. We see something happen, like, what brand was it that had the monkey shirts.
Oh, that was
Oh.
I want to say Gucci. Are you talking about the ones with, like, the
I
red
was thinking
lips?
that too.
The red, like,
No, with the kid.
See, there's so many. I
There
can't
was
even,
Oh,
like,
that point.
yeah, I know what you're
But
talking about.
there was, I think I don't want to slander no name, but I think it's the one that's always getting in trouble doing
I'll
stuff.
look it up.
I
But
think
it's like
so.
that's a business getting money right now.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all was mad that, and I'm not saying this is not a shit on people and their priorities, because obviously we know things are very different in this day and age. Like Bobby said, the only reason why so many people were probably able to attend the George Floyd protests around the world was because of COVID. So we're
Mm-hmm.
not being tone deaf to that, but it's also like talking about it and being about it is where our ancestors and us differ.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not on the latter side.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I think now it's time for us to figure out how to pivot, because, like we talked about, the circumstances are completely different. And I just feel like as a whole, we haven't pivoted to where we're able to make certain strides. However, that is a lot to get into, and like lots of intricacies as far as like how the system works, how oppression works, and whatnot. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I feel very pessimistic about it, which is unfortunate, because I saw a quote that was it was like, pessimism is a tool of white supremacy. And now look, here I am falling in to the rabbit hole. But I don't know, like, some people are soldiers, some people are at home being the support, some people are the medics, you know, we all got to get in where we fit in. These people were on the front line. And there's something else that they said that really stuck with me, and we can get into it, okay? At the very beginning, they said all at the protest, all but 12 were women, and all of us were Black. And that really hit home for me, because this was a protest led by predominantly Black women. And it just really makes me think about how Black women are consistently at the forefront of these movements. Everybody's movement, March for Your Lives, Women's March, reproductive rights. But where are they at when it's our time? Everybody there was Black. Everybody but 12 were women. And that was kind of upsetting, to see that things are more or less still the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys know I can go all day on Black women supporting everyone and us being the butt of everyone's joke, trash when it comes to people within our race, outside of our race. Like, we can go just deep into that. I think what like bothered me the most on that point of it being like Black women, and I'm gonna separate this from like today in terms of the systems and in terms of how they react to like protests and stuff. I'm gonna separate it, and this is all I'm gonna say. You can decide how you want to separate the terms of it, but I'm gonna separate it in terms of how they treat protesters. But what really bothered me were the Black policemen
Yes.
sitting
Yes.
back,
Yes. I wrote that
Yes.
down.
especially when the women were being like thrown up against the vans and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's so interesting to me during a time like that, fighting for something that's eventually gonna affect men anyway, because everything that everyone else does, when you're in that hierarchy and that chain, you're gonna get something out of it. They're literally fighting for equal pay. Something simple. I was just talking to my mom about the fact that we all know there's a pay disparity, or however you say it. It's 8 o'clock at night.
Discrepancy?
There you go. That. We know that there is one. Businesses know that there is one, yet they do nothing to change it.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that it's a thing and it does nothing. So it's like, especially multiply that by the magnitude of what was going on back then. It's just like, how do you sleep
Yeah.
at night? Like
Yeah.
knowing that you are a part of a institution. Like it's one thing, I know that people get mad, like that people are on the street when they protest, blah blah blah. But like knowing how they treated protesters back in the day, knowing that they never let Black people gather outside ever, whether they were protesting or not, and to be a part of that institution and to be a Black man while other Black men are being killed
Mm.
by the government,
Mhm.
and you are
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, I wrote that down too, and I was like, it just rubs you the wrong way because they I just felt like they were complicit. Like you are sitting there while people are fighting for rights to not just make $1.30 an hour as a hospital worker, and you're throwing them against vans and shuttling them into vans. Like it's just, and then I think at one point one of the reverends was like, "We're not only fighting for us, we're fighting for you and your wages." Talking to the police, like we're fighting for everyone's wages, and then they were still like, "Y'all got to go." And I'm like, so what are like what who it felt like whose side are you on type of thing. Like, oh, there's a fly. Like whose side are you on? What do you gain from this? Like what made you, I don't know. I know some people are like, you get into these positions and you're gonna make change and you're gonna do better and whatever. But in that instance, it really felt like, what are you gaining from this? Like, why did you choose this after seeing in previous years how Black people were treated by the police and you thought that's what I want?
and not even just previous years, current
Current,
years
right,
of
I'm
their
glad you said
time.
it.
right,
Current, right
right.
now, 2 months ago, like
Mm.
currently happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's so disheartening.
It is.
Like that is the only word. But then, like there's a lot that goes into it, but a lot of people keep saying like, the problem itself may not, like it's not only about race, it's about the policing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it don't matter what color you are, the police officers are gonna act a fool every time. They're gonna disrespect you, disrespect your bodily autonomy every time. And seeing that, I had to look away. I did. I couldn't watch it
Yeah.
because it was already bad enough. But then I seen that one Black man off in the corner,
In the like,
just watching.
Doing nothing.
Like you came from a Black woman.
Right.
You got 4 Black grandparents.
4.
Boy.
I can
Probably
tell.
guaranteed back then 4.
Guaranteed.
Have the question.
Right.
It's just,
would they be proud of you? Like,
it's really hard. I'll say this. I know a lot of people who are Black go into policing because they want to be the change, be the difference in the community, but the key to that is the word difference. If you're gonna go into the profession, and to me, I'm not gonna get too much into my feeling about politics and government, but I feel as if, why are you acting the same as them? Like if you got into the position to be different and to show like that there are good police, good Black police, especially during that time, which is just an audacious choice to make in general. Why are you not being different than them? Like, do you not have a mind of your own? If they say, hey, go shoot, they were arresting kids.
Yeah.
Like, that's where, to me, that's where the disconnect is. Like, not with the kids, but in general, like, do you not get an order and be like, wow, this is morally wrong. I don't want to do this.
Right.
And then you just do it?
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole psychology study on that. Y'all can look it up whenever you want. It has to do with electricity. But it's like, did you forget that when you take this uniform off, you still Black?
You still one of us, baby.
Like, and the only boundary that they were like, no, we can't cross it. They're like, if there's any women who have infants, and I was like, so that's it, like the women with the infants, but everybody else get in the van, like you're
But
going to
not the
jail.
infants, not the toddlers.
But
They can go.
they can go, but
They
if
can.
you have a baby in your arm, no. Okay, all right.
Shall we move on to the next topic? Because we could talk about
Yeah, because
We
I'm
should.
actually like I'm worked up.
Because, like I
Mm-hmm,
said, I was
mm-hmm,
irritated majority of the time just because there's so much complacency when it comes to fighting for Black women's rights, but everyone wants us to be on the front line for their bodies, but don't want to be on the front line for ours. And that's
mm-hmm.
my TED talk.
Absolutely.
And
Go ahead, Danielle.
there was just like one point, like one quote, like at the end, and they were like, what did you think is like the outcome of this? And the woman, who I can't remember her name, but she was saying like we were recognized as human beings. And to me, like that was just so sad, like to hear like that not only like they got the raise to, what was it, 70 cents or something like that, but which
That is insane.
insane. But not only
$2.
that, but like they they couldn't be seen as human beings before. And like even with all the changes, it took how many, like something days to get to that. And now they feel as though they are human beings. Like these women were in their 40s, 50s, whatever. And now they felt like recognized. That to me was just, it was so sad to hear. Not surprising, but sad. So
Very sad.
yeah.
It got to a point where I had to stop thinking about the content and I had to just start looking at what everyone was wearing, like what their hairstyle was looking like, because I had to shut it off and like try to connect to what is familiar to me that's somewhat positive out of all of that. I actually watched it with somebody. Like someone mentioned grits. We got into a whole thing about sugar in the grits or not, because like
he was gonna say he had grits without sugar. I did think that he. Oh, do you want to start this comment? Go ahead and start. I'm out of it. I don't eat grits.
Ow!
So y'all.
I am an advocate for sugar in the grits.
Okay, amen.
Listen,
Yes.
I don't care. I don't want to hear nobody say anything about it's just cereal. It's just you just making it. So okay. Sugar and grits is good.
It's good, period. I actually didn't know that cheese and grits was a thing until I was like 18. So there's that.
I don't want no savory grits. I'm sorry.
I will say I've had cheese and shrimp in my grits before. It was
That's
bomb.
good.
It was bomb.
Yeah.
And I get it. But sugar is also good and it deserves rights.
Yes.
But I will say cream of wheat is better than grits, and cream of wheat only tastes good with sugar. So yeah.
Never had cream of wheat.
Okay, well,
I don't eat either of those things. So I really
okay. So that was a thing. I also wrote down something. I said if Black people are gonna do anything, they're gonna sing some gospel.
That's true.
I said, wow, this is quite nice. It's familiar. Black people can do anything. We can go to an AME church, or a Baptist church.
Wow, you said AME. You so right about that.
I was baptized at an AME church.
Wow.
Like as soon as I saw AME church on the screen, I said, yep.
It was just like that. What you said was such a visual for me that was not even connected to this documentary. It was like, wow, they do be everywhere.
They be everywhere. So that was nice. Familiar.
I think this was like the first time that I saw Coretta Scott King doing how do I word this? In video format, doing some sort of activism without Dr. King. I don't think I've ever seen that before. So that was interesting to see. Like,
I think that was my first time too.
Yeah. I do a whole speech and whatnot.
I had written down another quote that got me riled up. One of the women at the beginning said, when you're working around people who discriminate against you, you just feel like fighting all the time. And
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't even know if I want to get into it, but it's just real frustrating when angry Black woman stereotype comes around, like you being aggressive. You think I don't have a right to be mad? Clearly, I'm mad for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that quote. Yeah, I was
It's
mad.
it's harder, like especially in the industry that we're in, when you don't see a lot of people that look like you in certain positions. And so when you're surrounded by kind of like the system that's already in place, you kind of immediately just already feel like, okay, so I'm gonna just look out for me. I'm gonna just, because it's hard. Like it's hard to. I don't want to write this because it's
Because we have jobs.
because we it's hard when it's just you and you don't have anyone to like to feel that same the same things or to understand like what you're going through. And so I understand like the not to that extent obviously, but I understand like what she's saying. Like it's a fight all the time. Like you're always looking out for yourself and always trying to prove that like you're meant to be in your position. Like you don't
Mhm.
it's a lot.
It takes up your bandwidth.
It does.
And so that's like I understand her. I understand exactly where she was coming from. And I think specifically within the film industry, like once you get to that point where every set that you're on, you're able to pick your people and people that make you feel comfortable regardless of what they look like. It kind of is just like a struggle all the time. Yeah, like some of the sets that I have been on have not been the best. Some of them have been amazing. So, and it really all comes down to being seen, feeling heard. Yeah, so I don't know. I just want better for everybody involved. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't really have a comment on this because it was not the white people that made my job hard, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
Yep. Anyway,
To go back to something that Bree said, because I think like you were talking about like learning about certain Black figures and Black things in schools. We well, coming from school that I went to, and I think it's kind of a lot of people's similar experience. I didn't learn about nothing like this.
never.
You learned about Malcolm X, you learned about Dr. King, and you learned about slavery. And that was
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks.
Yeah, she always slipped in there, but that was about it.
And that was kind of the extent of it. And it's just such a shame because, and even now, like when people are like fighting for people to learn like kids to learn in school about Black history, and it's just such a problem. Like it's why would we want that? Like because there's things like this where Black people should know about it and we haven't heard about certain things because it wasn't taught in school. It wasn't worked about. We learned about World War I for years. I learned about it all throughout my schooling. And like, yeah, it's important to know, but like also we need to know our history too.
And they're still making films about it. All Quiet on the Western Front is Oscar nominated 9 times over. So
yes, exactly. And it's like I'm not ashamed to be like I didn't.
Never heard of it.
Wait,
All Quiet on the Western Front. I just watched. Yeah,
don't know what you're talking about.
It's German World War I movie.
Oh wait, I think I want to see that. I do like a good look. I do like a good war movie.
Really?
But I get what you're saying because it's very obvious that they prefer to teach white American history over anything else and would prefer, which is why I don't know if it was something recently. I don't know if it was Black Panther, but someone, I think they were saying how like Black Panther, there was like no white savior or something in it. There was like some movie that came out recently and they were explaining why it might not have gotten Oscar nominations, which I mean, I feel like whether it's Black Panther or not, we know that if it's a Black movie about Black things, if there's not a white savior in it, it's not gonna get
Right.
nominated. So
But honestly, even with Woman King, they had half of a white savior and it
That-
still didn't
I
even,
think it was like
it got snubbed.
of a white. That man, first of all, it was Woman King they made that comment about. First of all, how dare you? Okay, he just wanted to love her, and he said, "My mama got taken."
He did want to love her,
and there's nothing I could do about it. Even though that was very, you're not gonna get into that conversation, but visually wasn't rocking with that. But there was no white savior in it, and I'm surprised when people are surprised that the industry works the way that the industry does. It's like it does it, and people, and obviously it's a really good movie. Definitely deserves some awards. We all know my favorite actress is in it. It's a great time. Okay, definitely was in the theater about to do a little tear or two. Okay.
Oh, I did cry.
It's just like, but also I'm not surprised when stuff like that gets snubbed because it always does. Side note, Beyonce snubbed every single
we
time.
can't.
No,
we made a Black documentary, Lemonade. Let me tell you something. I love me some Adele. I did not become a Beyonce stan until Lemonade. There's no way in hell you can tell me that Adele's whatever album was out was better than Lemonade. But what I can tell you is that Adele's album made white people feel better than Lemonade. So it's just like that happens every single time. Renaissance, I feel like they literally said Black women again. I don't know what it is about Black women people want to pick on. Literally, when they did that little Grammys, groups of big fans, people were literally like, "Oh, I'm not voting for Beyonce because she always gets awards." And but she deserves them.
Right.
She deserves them. I don't give a fuck how many awards she has.
Like,
if she deserves it, she deserves it.
Constantly, Black people are being snubbed in our industry in categories that people know we rightfully deserve to be in. But there's no way you can't bring up the fact that every time, other than Angela Bassett and probably a couple of other people, other than that, a lot of the Black women that get nominated for these roles are supporting women in cast, or they're playing some type of slave-related, race-related role. It's because that's what the people want to see. Yes, of course, there are the Oscar guilds and people vote, and these are all true. Usually more regulated with stuff like SAG. That's usually where like the people's vote come in, but like they make it very blatantly obvious. They're not gonna let Beyonce win an album of the year. They're not gonna put anything Black that is either pro-Black or has nothing to do with racism, because let's talk about that too. If it has nothing to do with racism, we're not talking about it. That's not gonna win no accolades on the biggest screens, biggest stages, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, it's very obvious. And it always surprises me when people are surprised that the industry is working exactly how they made it to work. Just because we're years in the future from when they first created like Hollywood and all that does not mean that's what systematic means.
Break it down.
Outlives the creator. It's systematic. Like that's the point of it. So it's just like she said, she feel like you're always fighting because you are always fighting. You want to punch the air all the time. Black women are not allowed to be angry regular. Separate race. We just not allowed to be angry, period. Somebody cut us off in traffic, oh well, smile about it. Somebody curse you out, oh well, smile about it. Somebody mansplain to you, oh well, smile. Like Black women are never allowed to be mad because now we've made white people feel uncomfortable or a white space be uncomfortable. And that's, to me personally, not our responsibility to check. That's not our responsibility to hold a TED Talk on how to be able to take in and digest Black women. That's not our job. You figure it out.
Period.
Period.
And don't oppress us while doing it.
Okay.
Because
I feel like we're not asking for much. Like
they weren't asking for much. They were asking to
for
be
the
treated
bare
like
minimum.
human beings.
literally.
That is
Literally.
the bare minimum. Human beings and 70 cents. Are you kidding me? Now,
But it took you 100 days to figure that out. Like
it's because their pockets was hurting.
$15 million.
They said he only went and got groceries and medication. Them pockets was hurting. And how dare, I don't know if he was the president or whatever, he was like, this isn't a civil rights issue. This is, what are you talking about? Like, I don't, race, gender, I don't, like, this is that don't see color. That is how that is racist and detrimental in the same systematic way. Because how you gonna fight the facts? They're not getting paid the same. And you don't have no reason to say why they're not getting paid the same.
Right. Because when the guy was like, why do you feel that? He was like,
I just do.
It's just not a civil rights.
I don't
like it. I just woke up like this, and I just felt that way.
Right.
No one's ever told me any different.
I just like. But
like,
now
bitch.
you see what they talking about when you $15 million short in some money.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What was the quote? They said, hold on, I gotta find it. Where is it? See, I wrote too much. I wrote so much. It said one thing that white folks understand is $1. And
that's a word.
And they say we ain't our ancestors. You damn right we ain't our ancestors. Because they let go of that dollar. We don't.
Yep. It's unfortunate.
Yep, there we have it. I have something else. I really like the title of the film. I know it came from one of the chants that they were doing. I am somebody. Yeah. I really I felt moved. Not gonna lie. Yeah. At the museum, we have the title card, I am somebody, it's on the wall. It's real big. And every day I see little girls take pictures next to it. And yeah, it makes me feel a little bit warm. Not gonna lie. Despite the content matter, that's a very powerful statement. Something that you gotta hold near and dear to your heart. Say it in the morning during your affirmations. I am somebody, regardless if the system recognizes that or not. I feel like as long as you do, that's powerful. And I feel like that loops into what she said towards the end, where she said, if you're ready and willing to fight for yourself, others will be ready and willing to fight for you, which I do have a little bit of mixed feelings on. However, holding on to the fact that you are somebody and, you matter, that does go far, hopefully within your own community at least, but you know how the system works. So
yeah, that was one
oppression.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you guys have any other final thoughts on this film?
Black women hospital workers are so important, and especially we've seen Black women go through so much trying to get their rights when they're in the hospital, when they're feeling pain, whatever, and it's ignored, and it's we're strong, but no, I think it's important. And the fact that in 1969 that they knew their importance and they knew that they deserved more, they deserved better, and they went on strike. I think this documentary was so important to see. It's 28 minutes long. You can show it in schools. Like,
period.
That is a period. That is a class period. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really to the point. I learned something new. So yeah.
Shout out to all the Black people in the medical field. Not y'all who bought y'all degrees though, because y'all trying to kill everybody.
Yeah, boo, you suck.
Yeah, no, we don't need that. But you know, I feel like there is a special feat and a special like place for me when it comes to Black people in the I know what I was gonna say, Black people in the medical field, because my pediatrician was Black for my entire life. Like, I don't think it was specific, but like I've been lucky enough to have Black women be a lot of the roles that have to do with medicine, and it matters. Seeing people, it matters. Literally, my therapist is a Black woman, and when I had asked for a referral to one, there was two in the office, and she wasn't the one recommended. And the only reason why I ended up being with her is because the person that was recommended was full. But it's like, you're lost because like she's great. What else? Teach Black history in schools. I didn't realize until literally me and Danielle was having a conversation that I never sang the national anthem in school. It was never a thing. When I was in elementary school, I went to a very Black elementary school, and they made up a national anthem. we had our own Black every day. One student gets to say it over the intercom. We said it during graduation, all these things. Like,
I love it.
My first high school, all Black. Like, I appreciate Black spaces and what they do now. I wasn't a part of the African American history class in my Black high school, but I heard they was picking people to be slaves and owners, and that was the class activity.
Oh.
But at least it's something. At least they're not trying to get rid of it. Did it boost egos? Did it do the opposite effect for some people? Yes, but that also just goes to show what power and how many people forget that they are Black when they get power. So
true.
Which is a little bit of this documentary.
So,
thank you to the medical workers. Unionize. Anybody else Black in any other fields you feel like you need a union? Why not? Go unionize.
You get a union, you get a union, you get a union.
Everybody.
Okay.
I think Starbucks gonna get a union. Like,
come on, Starbucks.
Unionize.
They deserve, because does Amazon have a union? They need one.
I think they do.
Okay. Amazon? I think so. And I believe it was a Black man who created it.
See,
it happened last year, I believe. Exactly.
There we have it.
Black people just be winning
once again,
as we expect. You know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So shout out to the healthcare workers, and I hope to continue to see more things outside of Twitter, because Twitter is literally a university.
They be lying.
That too. But I learned a lot more from Black history on Twitter than I have in any institution I've been in.
Oh, honestly.
So,
that too. That too. They don't always be lying, but
keep it in schools and teach the truth, so that these young kids know that just because they might go to school with people that look different than them, still have them understand their history. White American history is not the only history that should be default and taught, especially when this country wasn't built by white people. And that's my
say it again. Say one more time.
This country, a lot of Black women, a lot of Black men, the medical industry. During slavery times, a lot of Black women bodies. A lot of things would have never been here. The country wouldn't be what it is right now.
Okay.
Wasn't built on the Black or the whites, and that's all I'm gonna say.
That's really it.
But y'all cool in the game, but you know. Cool in the game, but the history is the history, the truth is the truth, no matter what your relationships are. You can't bypass what happened in the past, because it's not in the past. And literally, I have a parent older than this documentary, so no,
for real. Literally. When I saw those little babies on screen, I was like, okay, 1960. I was like,
right,
like my dad is older than that baby,
like 50 now, like
my aunt is the same age as that baby. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm t- It's not.
No.
History
not
was not
foreign.
1,000 years ago.
This is not a
Okay.
foul wow.
No.
Mm-mm.
All right.
Mm.
This was
Know your history.
them, just like we was wondering, oh, them babies. We still try to figure out who some of these non-black peoples are in these black and white photos. Okay, if it's one thing Twitter gonna do, it's gonna find somebody back history.
Yep,
Okay,
Mhm.
and they be like, oh yeah, this person 80 years old in this place, huh?
Hmm.
Look at that, found you.
Yep.
Do what you will with that information.
Well, on that note, final ratings on I Am Somebody. I don't even know how to start, but
5.
Yeah, I forgot about ratings. I gave it a
I
5.
forgot about ratings too. I really wasn't even assuming we were rating the documentary.
I mean, I don't know.
I gave it a 5. Go ahead, Brie. Sorry.
5.
Mhm.
5.
I think I'm gonna give it a 4.5, but that's only because I want more.
Okay.
Yes, I want more. I want it to be longer.
Mhm.
4.5 out of 5 hot combs. So yeah, that's that.
All right. You speak your truth, Bobby.
I have
Living your
to.
truth.
I have to. It's my right. So
Yeah.
Okay. So all right, everybody. That has been another episode of Hot Combs and Popcorn. Thank you all for listening. Once again, I've been Bobby.
I'm Danielle.
I'm Brianna.
And if you haven't already done so, please throw us a follow and subscribe to us on both YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Yes, also shout out Melanin Apparel. This is not sponsored, but Melanin Apparel, if you are out there,
Sponsor us.
because we love you. Okay.
We love you.
Yeah.
Look at the quality. Look at the quality.
Exactly. So throw us a like, share this episode, leave in the comments below. Have you seen this documentary? You know, I was actually surprised when I looked on Letterboxd. A lot more people than I thought that I know. Wait, I know a lot more people than I thought that I would have that have seen this documentary. I think like 6 people that I know have watched this. And I was very surprised. All of them were non-black, by the way.
Oh,
I said, damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
if you haven't seen it, it's only 28 minutes long. Okay.
like, come on. You could watch one episode of Abbott Elementary and then cut this on and then get right back to Abbott, you know?
Exactly.
That's fine. So yeah, did you see this when it first came out? If you did, tell us how that went.
How did you
what
watch
are your
it?
thoughts on it? And how did you watch it? Yeah. Let us know what movie or television show we should review next. As for us, those streetlights are about to come on, so we've got to go. Same time, same place. We'll see you then, and goodbye.